Back down here at F6 Outdoors with the Wizard, my buddy Jamie Fuller. This is like bow number 10 or something that we've set up down here. We just got done setting up the Venom. Now this is the RX5. Really excited about this bow. I'm going to get it set up and take to the working class shoot this weekend. Jamie is a Hoyt dealer in here, and he's look swagged out. If you're looking for F6 apparel, they have shirts, hats, hoodies, blazer veins. They're branding everything. They're coming out with socks, I heard, next. So definitely be sure to check into F6 Outdoors if you're in the area of Iowa, Southeast Iowa, North Missouri, Western Illinois. It doesn't matter. Get over here. Let Jamie and his team get you set up. You guys are a Hoyt dealer.
Yep.
PSE.
Correct.
And
Bowtech.
Elite.
Deal a little bit with Darton also.
Yeah. That's you picked those up this year, right?
Yep. Randy
those.
Kitts took over ownership, and we decided to jump on board with him.
Yeah. So everything but Matthews.
Correct. Yep.
But you do take Matthews in on trade sometimes and consignment.
Absolutely. We'll work on any of them too.
Yeah. So that's what I like about it. They've got everything down here. The big thing with bow shops nowadays is actually like you go in and they don't have what you need.
Yeah.
You guys you carry a lot of inventory, which I'm sure is not easy all the time.
No, definitely not. But it's nice to have a selection. And, you know, not everybody likes the same exact thing.
Exactly.
So we have some choices for everybody.
Yep. So that's super cool. So be sure to check out F6 Outdoors, and we're going to get started on this RX5 bow build.
Just the thing I always jump to first, I like getting my center shot and knock height first. And then I'll throw it on the draw board immediately after that. Check cam timing. That way if I have to make some tweaks to the knock height after that, we can do so.
How many rests do you think you've installed? Have you ever thought about that? Like how many peep sights or how many D loops have you tied?
I know that drop away rest we probably sell upwards of 600 of them a year in here. That's just selling them. Plus we're installing ones that get brought in from other folks, or just setting up ones that we're transferring from bow to bow. So I don't know. We probably several thousand a year we install.
Yep. Now, as far as setting up, I know there's is it 13/16?
Yeah, typically with Hoyts, 13/16, 7/8, give or take. After we got that set, we like to work with that new shim system that on that HBX cam system. So knock height, I usually like to run them 90. Start with that and then kind of go from there.
Yep. See,
we're gonna run those.
This is the information. This is what the people want to know. They want to know, not giving away all the trade secrets, but all of your standard stuff that you kind of start with.
What you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yep.
You got your axis arrows. You see one of those for knock height. Now, I can throw fancy levels on there and whatnot to get started, but I like to eyeball it right out of the gate. Then we'll shoot through paper to kind of get what's actually going on with it. Mount this HHA Tetra back bar bracket on John's RX5. We're going to go ahead and leave off the front bar simply because Hoyt actually put on this shorty, a little 2.5-inch stabilizer that acts as a 7-inch stabilizer. So we'll mount this on here, tighten it up. We're going to run the quick disconnect with the short Tetra stabilizer and throw this in there. And then we'll play with the angles a little bit as John shoots it and get him kind of comfortable with his grip and the way the bow holds too. Alright, so John's going to have me mount this HHA Tetra. It's the 4-pin version. This would be really great for Western hunters. A lot of guys like a 4-pin with a floater due to the fact they can run their solid pins as a 20, 40, 50, 60, etc. And that 60-yard pin, I would use it as a floater as my 70, 80, 90, etc. They come out with the inline sight that's going to mount on the Picatinny rail. It's going to be a real nice sight, keep everything in balance. Again, for the Western hunters or anybody that's doing hunts with a quiver on, this is going to be very beneficial to them. Now, we might have to move this in position down one slot or up one slot, determining where he's going to be at for his sight. But HHA offers this track system too, that you can set your setup tape on 0, and then you can run this track until you hit 20, and then you move your sight tape, setup tape, until you hit at 60, and that's exactly what tape you're going to choose out of the package. So we went ahead and put a little brass knock point on John's string. The reason for that is John's not a big fan of the larger kisser buttons. They're a little too invasive on his face contact. So we go ahead and we put a brass knock point on there, and then we'll slide shrink tube over and make it look real clean. It's going to give John a consistent anchor point. He's going to have that in the corner of his mouth, string on the tip of his nose, and he's looking through his peep. So he's got 3 anchor points in that sense. So we're going to go ahead and put the shrink tube on and get this rolling. Alright, so we got the bow on the draw board here. We're checking peak weight. We're going to check actual draw length. We're looking for 70 pounds. It's 70.2. Looking for cam timing here. That looks absolutely perfect. And the draw length is 28 inches, exactly what we're looking for. So 70.2 pounds, 28 inches. The cam timing is great. Should help us out with a perfect bowl hole through paper. We're going to go ahead and check the knock height and everything before we go shoot through paper, and we'll go from there. Alright, so we got John all tuned up. We went ahead and shimmed the cams with the HBX tuning kit. Your authorized Hoyt dealers have these kits, so make sure if you're buying a Hoyt bow, you get your bow tuned up first, or right the first time. We had it shot through the chronograph, 262, 486 grain Easton Axis arrow, shooting 28 inches and 70 pounds, so that's real speed for you. I know a lot of guys look at the IBO speed. That's our real speed that we got out of this bow. Shot a bolt hole through paper. Everything's right there. John's pounding them at 20 yards already, so he's going to get ready for this fall and hammer out some whitetails.
All right, so now we're back at home. We've got the bow sighted in at 20. Like I said, this is a 4-pin Tetra Sight. I haven't run one of these in a while. I've been running just single pin HHA stuff for the past couple of years. My thought is having this rig set up for like antelope and elk. You know, when it's super fast target acquisition, it might be something that, you know, that extra 2-3 seconds of making a sight change maybe, you know, cost you the game. So it is time to start setting my 30, 40, and 50. So here goes. It's actually 30 and a half. Take a little half step up. Bingo. All right, now it's time for 40. All right, so gonna loosen this up and see if we can get it to slide up. To there. Okay, tighten that. Moved a little. That's the other thing. You know, you want to use extra caution whenever you're tightening these down, because what'll happen is when you put that last little twist in there, it can actually turn it, and it's rotating it a little bit more. So I'm just adding a little bit of pressure to those pins. Okay, try that. All right, so you can see these two here. Typically I like to put like a piece of electrical tape or some kind of a line, you know, aim small, miss small. But I was just aiming kind of dead center broad. These two are good. This is actually the first arrow and the third arrow. I don't know what happened here. So kind of threw that one a little bit. But again, going off of that, again, that's why it's kind of nice having like a 3 arrow group. You know, you have one arrow that's a flyer, and you might be chasing your sight the rest of the day. So, all right, so we're trying to beat the rain. It's another one of these Iowa thunderstorms popping up. So we've got 20, 30, 40, and 50 pins set. Those are adjustable. Well, the 30, 40, and 50, we left the 20 where it was, and we worked off of these. So on this Tetra model sight, your 20 yard becomes your floater. So we know at 0, we are at 20. Now we're working our way down. I'm kind of going off a little bit of a guesstimate, just kind of a little bit of an eyeball test. And what I did was just looking down through the sight, I started rolling the 20 until it was in line with where the 50 would be. And then I just went just another tick more, basically the same gap that I had between my 40 and my 50, I went through. So we're gonna see where this is at. This isn't, but I'm using a big enough target that I should have a little bit of a variance here, so we'll see how it goes. Then if I lose an arrow, I guess I lose an arrow. So to do this, I'm actually standing right on the edge of the road, and I have my target set up on the back property line. We hit target. That's a good sound. Looks a little left, and it looks a little hot. So now we're just gonna back it off just a hair. I was at 55 on the setup wheel, gonna go down to 52. It might be too much. We'll see here. Still breaking in this string, still fighting a little bit of a peep twist, just a little bit. We need this string to kind of settle in and to where it's going to go, and then if we have to retie in this peep, and that's what we'll do, but I'm just going to have to put some more reps in with this. I think that might be too much. We'll go to 53. Check this one. I'm liking that really good. So we'll shoot one more. Again, 3 arrow averages, works pretty good. And you know, sometimes when you're sighting in, you're shooting a lot of arrows. And you're kind of thinking about your sight and you're thinking about everything. So I like doing 3, and it kind of gives me a chance to take a little break and take a break on the muscles, the brain, all that kind of good stuff. Anchor, nose. Okay, that one is a tick low. We'll walk over here and check it out. So you can see the extreme angle that I have to be actually be on my street, and I've got to clear one of my black walnut branches. I have to clear the maple tree that's in the front yard to get back here, so that's why it's at that crazy angle. But you can see the groups are starting to get a little bit tighter, especially at those longer distances. I'm really make sure that I'm anchored in and I settle in good, but I don't hold it too long, because you know, you start getting those wobbles and stuff like that. So there's probably a half sight tape change that we can make, but I'm really digging this right now. So we're gonna go ahead and lock that in, get our sight tape on, and we'll start playing with it, you know. The other reason why I'm not too terribly concerned about those small left and right differences right now is I don't have my quiver mounted on here. My tight spot quiver will not match and mount up on here, so I'm going to shop around and see if I can find a Hoyt one there in their warehouse, or pick up one online or something. But that's going to throw some things off again once I put that quiver on there and throw a couple of arrows in it. So then that's when I'll have to go back to that HHA stabilizer bar and make a few changes here and there. But like I said, right now I'm liking everything. shooting about 486 grains on total arrow weight, shooting 100 head. I do have the Luminox in there, the wraps, the four fletch, and the Easton Axis right now. I think they are 10.7 if memory serves correct. These are 300 spines, and I'm shooting a 28-inch arrow right now. So, and that's carbon to carbon, basically. So the shaft itself is 28 inches. So there's a setup. That's the new Hoyt RX5, the 2021 model. It's a great bow. I love the carbon riser. I love the feel of it. I really like my RX4 Turbo, and I like the Ventum, but it is a little different feel in the riser. The cams feel the same, the draw feels the same, but there is a little bit different feel in the bow. And if I had to pick one, my personal favorite right now is the RX5, just slightly over the Venom, and it's just a personal preference thing for me. But they're both solid bows. I like them both, and I'll hunt with them both this year, I'm sure. Back down here. Oh, I started it with. All right, so I'll be honest. I don't like sighting in bows. I never have. I'm not a tinkerer. I just want to shoot. I just don't like it. Maybe there's a few tips in this video that you might pick up, and it might speed up your process if you're like me and you don't like to tinker with stuff and whatnot. So, all right.